everyone, this is Devin. First off, I wanted to say thank you all so much for 100 subscribers. You all are super rad, and I love each and every one of you. So today I'm going to be talking about how I found out that I had D.I.D. So honestly, there are 3 different stories that I'll kind of cycle through when someone's like, how did you find this out? Because they're all kind of weird, but finding out you have D.I.D. is weird. So I guess I'll start from square one. The first story that I tell is how my first memory is an out-of-body experience. So when I was really little, I ended up hurting one of my eyes, which is one of the reasons why my lens prescriptions are different. Like, the left one is not as strong as the right, because apparently eyes grow back stronger when you hurt them, which is pretty interesting to know. So this memory is of me sitting kind of far back in a room, and in the foreground of the room there is like a doctor eye exam chair and a child on the chair being held down, freaking out. And this child is being held down by like 2 different nurses, the doctor and my mother, and I am just sitting way back in the back of the room, and I'm like 3 years old at the time, and my sister hadn't even been born yet, so it definitely couldn't have been her. And so I just remember sitting there thinking, why is my mom holding down this random child while I'm sitting in the corner of the room? And so I think that's where Xavier, my third alter, came from, and that's that, Alright, so let's see, the second story is a little bit funny. So this is when I was about 8 years old. My grandparents were visiting, and they like to do those kind of like craft things with their grandkids, and this time around we were like melting white chocolate or something to like dip pretzels or snacks into, because I don't know, that's what you do with your grandkids. So yeah, we had put some of the chocolate into the microwave in a little cup, and it started like bubbling up on the top, and it was kind of blackening, and I was like, oh, it probably dried. It's like a dried bubble of chocolate that would be fun to pop. I tried to pop it, and it turns out that it was just melted chocolate, and I ended up burning my finger, which to a young child that would cause some form of dissociation. And so I was sitting on the couch with my finger in a cup of ice water, and we were watching Dr. Dolittle, and there's that one scene where there's like a big tiger that jumps on the table, and some animals are neutered, tigers are not one of them. And so at that point, it was when my mouth just randomly blurted, "Look at the nards on that thing." And then my mom was like, "What did you just say?" And I was like, I didn't know, I forgot Grandma and Grandpa were there. Which to me seemed totally normal, to like forget that somebody was visiting, even though it was like an important thing. And so I believe that that was Marco when we were a child, because that's exactly the sense of humor that my dad would have. But yeah, Marco really imitates my dad's like humor, mannerisms, thought patterns, so I'm like 90% sure that was little 8-year-old Marco trying to make a joke and having it not received nicely. And the third story is when I was around 14 or 15 years old. I was in my freshman year of high school, and at that time I was just in my first relationship, and I did not know how to handle that at all. I was super inexperienced, super awkward, and just didn't know how to relationship, because our parents were divorced, so I didn't really have an example of like decent functioning relationships. So I was like, I'm just gonna sit here pretty much and just hope for the best. And that didn't really work out. So one night I was just lying awake just thinking about, how am I gonna handle this? Like, how do I make this relationship work? How do I just make it not feel so one-sided? And then like suddenly my face got turned to the right and like started speaking in like this more assertive, like angry tone with angry ideas. And then it was like back to the middle, and it was me again, and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? And then my face got turned to the left, and it started speaking more, I guess, like manic, whimsical, fantastical kind of ideas, more like cheerful, excited, I don't know, more happy than the right one. And so I'm pretty sure that the right one was Kate, left one was Dante, and of course the right one was just me. And then yeah, that's where the first 3 came from, and then it started more and more kind of appeared. But after I got dumped after 4 months in this relationship, which in my high school is apparently a long relationship. But I don't know, I was pretty angry, of course, because the guy was like, "You're not gonna do it with me, so it's over," in short. And I was like, wow, okay. So I was pretty upset, and then it all went quiet in my head for like a month or two, and then they just came back, and there was, I think, 7 including me, which in comparison to 96 now, that's like not a lot, but at that point it was a lot for me to handle. But then they just started like steadily like growing more and more. Like another one would show up, and then a few months later another one would, and then we finally discovered that we have this gigantic inner world, because at that point it was just like basically nebulous blackness with like some light where people were. And it kind of sucked, I guess, because there wasn't really anywhere for people to go. Everyone had to kind of see each other all the time. And that was not ideal because a lot of us don't really get along with each other. So I'm really happy that we've got such a big inner world and we discovered each other. And so, yeah, those are the stories about how I discovered I had D.I.D. Though, ironically, the first 2 I didn't even give much thought to until the past couple of years, and I was like, wait, looking back on it, I should have seen this coming, but I did not, because, I don't know, I just never was taught that these kind of things were not normal. So yeah, I will make a video about my inner world a little bit later on, and yeah, if you have any more questions or anything, feel free to pop them down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.